a little while back, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine a little while back about art and how we do things as artists, and it occurred to me that there are things that I do that I consider normal things to do as an artist that other people don't even know about. So they're kind of art hacks, but they're kind of not. They're things that are obvious to me that it might be that someone else doesn't do. So I thought I'd share a few things today that I do as a matter of course when I'm painting that are really, really simple, that you might want to try yourselves when you're painting or making whatever you do, that will make your life a little bit easier. They're not rocket science, they're not huge revelations particularly, they're just things that I think you might find useful. So the first one is, when you have your paint water, do you spend a lot of time with a tissue? So when you're painting, you wash your brush and you dab, 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 and it's not clean. You wash your brush and you dab, dab, dab again. And you do it about 3 or 4 times to get a clean brush sometimes. So rather than do that, what I have in the bottom of my paint water is a sponge. So that's the simplest thing in the world, to chop up a washing up sponge and shove it at the bottom there, so that then I can actually clean my brush when it's inside the water, and that saves me some time. It probably only saves me 5 seconds every time I wash my brush, but it's just a little useful thing you might want to know. So number 2 is details. When you're painting details, do you find it hard to find a brush that's small enough and neat enough to do some tiny little details? I recently discovered these. These are brushes for nail art. I've never had my nails done. It's utterly pointless because I spend my life working with my hands and doing crazy things. So there's absolutely no point in me having my nails done looking pretty, because it wouldn't last more than 5 minutes. But these people that do nails have these teeny tiny little brushes. They're even smaller than a 0. And these ones I've also got a point on the end, just a little metal point, which is sometimes useful for doing dots. But yeah, so look outside of the art world sometimes to find the thing that you're actually looking for. These are really cheap, a little bit sparkly. I don't do sparkly. But they're really useful. Tip number 3 is how to clean your brushes. Have you ever gone into the bottom of your paint box and gone, oh, nasty brush, that you've left, you've not cleaned it properly, it's gone all musty and horrible, and you think, oh, I'm just going to throw this one away? There is actually a way around it, because in the UK at least, we have something called Swarfiga, and this is nasty green stuff. Ugh. It's a bit like jelly and it smells really nasty, but it's used primarily by mechanics and people like that, because you rub the gel on to your hands if you've got oily hands, and it gets it right off. So why not use it for brushes? It's really good at cleaning those nasty ones that you think you're going to throw away, gets the oil out of them and really, really cleans them right down to the bottom. And it's really useful. So tip 3, clean your brushes with Swarfiga. So my next tip, say you have a drawing that you've done. So I've got this little geometric fox I've done here. Do you ever have that dilemma where you think to yourself, I want to colour this, I want to do something with it, but I'm not sure what I want to do? Now, what I usually do in this situation, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all is the very modern invention called a photocopier. So you can take your drawing, you can photocopy it a few times, and then you can colour it in different ways so that you can decide what you want to do with that drawing, whether you want to go really bold or very naturalistic, or put a moon behind her here, whatever you want to do. So that's a way of deciding what you're going to do with an image, by photocopying it a few times, colouring it in, and making some aesthetic decisions that way. Another option to copy this drawing, which if you haven't got a photocopier is just as valid, but just takes a little bit longer, is to colour in the back with a heavy pencil. So it really gets some on there. I've used a, what is this? This is a 9B to do this. You can do it with charcoal if you want to as well. And then put it onto another piece of paper and trace through, draw over again, and you will have an image on the lower piece of paper like a normal tracing. Ta-da! You have a second copy. The problem with this, of course, is you've got to remember where you've been, because if you notice on here, I've missed a bit. Okay, because and I didn't go far enough, look, with the colour on the back, but there we are. So that's another method for copying a few times something that you've done. Of course it can ruin your original image a little bit, but if you haven't got a photocopier, that's a way around it. So thank you for watching today and being generally lovely. If you want more of my art tips, subscribe to the channel obviously. I also have a website, artymouse.com, where you can pick up any of my prints. So I will see you next time. Cheers.